Thank you for taking some time to stop up here in beautiful Canton, Ohio. And what I'd like to ask you guys are things that I hear every day from my customers. And a lot of that is, some misconceptions about the diet and the lifestyle. So I'll leave it to you guys to kind of, pick up the ball with it. But, one of the big things we always hear is if I eat, a lot more fat in my diet, my cholesterol is going to continue to go up. And my doctor says that's probably not a good idea. So what kind of, conversation can we have on that?
Yeah, I'll be happy to start out. It's a big topic, Jeff, and I would agree with you. It's a common concern that we hear about that stems back really 40 plus years now. We've been demonizing fat in general as a cause of a lot of problems ranging from obesity to heart disease to diabetes. What I'll say, just kind of as a broad statement, is we're now turning the corner on that, I'll say, dogma, because the science is pretty clear now that fat's not the enemy. And especially when you're following a ketogenic diet, you really need to make peace with fat. It's the most important nutrient in many ways, at least in terms of being the primary source of your calories on a ketogenic diet is coming from fat. Now, when I got into this field about 25 years ago, I was really focused and even a bit concerned that, maybe we are doing some harm to people by feeding them all this fat. So we really focused on understanding cholesterol responses and really extending beyond cholesterol and looking at a lot of different cardiovascular risk factors. And to sort of summarize many years and many manuscripts that we've published, what we've discovered now and understand now is that when you follow a ketogenic diet and you look at all these advanced cardiovascular, cardiometabolic risk factors, the vast majority of them, almost all of them, improve quite dramatically. Triglycerides go down, your good HDL cholesterol increases, the quality of your LDL particles improves. You get rid of these really small atherogenic particles that cause damage. They go down. Your inflammatory markers improve, and your glucose and your insulin levels improve. And we know these contribute to ultimately higher risk for heart disease.
And you've seen this over 20 years of doing research. We see it over and over and over. It's not like one study had this happen and we're jumping on riding that wagon. It's pretty much every time we go down that and do studies along those lines, we see the same thing happen.
Yeah, my first paper that I published in 1980 demonstrated
1980,
beneficial effects on good cholesterol, beneficial effects on triglycerides, effective weight loss of people eating healthy fats to satiety, and yet they lose weight. It's not because it melts off body fat, it's they are satiated. The hunger triggers in the body respond far better to fat than it does to carbs, and even to protein. But what Jeff and I have, first I alone, and I got very lonely because nobody believed anything I published.
It was 1980, folks. That's right, when the food pyramid came out and
exactly.
said, eat carbs.
And don't eat fat. And then, Jeff read my papers and, we met at a meeting and he was quoting my papers. And this was a revelation because it hadn't happened before. But we've been able to explore particularly this issue around the so-called LDL cholesterol, which is called, people casually call it the bad cholesterol. But actually it comes in multiple components. And what Jeff was saying, some of those are very dangerous, the small ones, and the larger ones are not as dangerous. In fact, may be beneficial. And what happens when you follow a ketogenic diet is your LDL total level in the blood may go down or it may go up, but the dangerous particles in every study we've done go down, and the beneficial particles actually go up. And so we see a shift within this category, but that's more sophisticated than most doctors are actually trained to do or trained to understand. And they want it to be simple, and it's not, it's complex. But when you look at it with a magnifying glass, you really see that the broad spectrum effectiveness, including inflammation, which is a root cause of many of our chronic diseases, including diabetes, get improved. And we've now demonstrated in a 2-year study, and we're about to publish 5-year data, that we sustain those benefits in people with type 2 diabetes for a long period of time. And it's not just a few people. It's a lot of, a very significant percentage of the people who start with us and adopt this lifestyle with proper coaching and support and with access to good, keto, not fake foods, but real foods that are keto friendly. That's what Pangea does. Have the ability to follow this long term. And that's really the key factor is sustainability.
And going back to the real food issue, and I met you guys because of my own personal journey. I was 350, type 2 diabetic. I did get gastric bypass 6 years ago, but I've continued to keep the weight off, maintain it. And I started Pangea Keto strictly because I wanted to offer great food, real food to people who are struggling to try and stay on the ketogenic diet. And through that process, I reached out to Dr. Volek, and through him, I've met Dr. Finney, and it's been a great journey. And again, I just want to appreciate your time being here today.